This is Shaun Sport in podcast form.
Oh, the great man, Jordan Clarke's in the house today. Actually, Jordan, you haven't been here with Nathan so far this season.
No, I haven't.
He could be your lucky charm going forward.
I will be usually. I'm very lucky for sports people, aren't I?
Yeah.
Mitch Marsh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he drew blood. You have to draw blood from me, though.
Yes.
So you got to lay a
Make
couple
him
of slippers
bleed.
into
You
Nathan.
make me bleed, you have a great season.
Righto. We'll get that sorted.
Line him up.
Yeah, you've got a very gentle nature about you.
I do, yeah, off the field, on the field, I can turn into a
That's
bit of a-
amazing to me.
Absolute
Those
animal.
people, there's sports people that we meet, that are the professionals in the field that have this gentle nature, and then you see them turn into a beast. That's amazing.
Well, John Worsfold used to be a chemist
Yes.
at Garden City.
Yeah, he did.
Nat would be familiar with that.
Yeah.
And he'd wear his
It's-
glasses and he'd have a
it's
white
Finnegan.
coat.
Yeah.
And then you see him on the weekend get suspended just about every week for taking people's heads off.
I know.
So Clarke is like that. He's
Yeah.
dangerous.
Yeah. Good Clarke.
Be careful, Nathan.
Well,
He's
you nearly
dangerous.
took his head off last week, I hear, Sean.
No, I was just pointing out that St Kilda were going to be difficult, and you just needed to be on your toes because everyone knew what was going to happen. And
And that was the first time Jordan had thought about that.
They don't cover that in the meetings.
Jordan, there's an nice article about you in the paper today, but you do say that you like honest and straightforward feedback.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
stand by that after this week?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, it's sort of something you got to develop over time as well. You can't as a
Yes.
young bloke coming in, I probably got it wrong a few times and didn't like hearing it. But, over a few years now, I sort of have worked out it's the most efficient and the best way to hear things.
improve.
Is this just
It is
from
efficient,
just from the staff at the football club, or is this from just anyone?
People in the street.
You welcome that?
I did cop one on Saturday night. I was just having dinner with my parents and my girlfriend, and someone did drive down the street and go, "Jordan, what the F was that?" And everyone sort of turns their head. And that feedback's always pretty funny.
That was like the time that I was. No one's ever yelled at stuff on the street, with me. But I was walking down the street with this particular bachelor. People, the abuse he was getting, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." That people are yelling at you from cars.
I mean, it is the elephant in the room, Jordan, in that it wasn't a great performance against St Kilda.
I heard it was good.
I turned it on at half time and thought that there was something wrong with my TV because your score said 1 goal 1, and I'm like, that can't be physically possible.
Yeah. No.
It's 'cause all you have to do is just get one goal and then 1 point, and then you've done it.
Yeah, it was a tough watch. It was tough being out there as well, but
Yeah. What was the meet? What was it like at half time? You guys, it must have looked like, I don't know.
yeah, we were a bit glassy-eyed, that's for sure. And then, at half time you sort of come in, you're like, all right, are we going to get a spray? Are we not? JL was really good. Didn't spray us.
Because either it's going to be a spray, or sometimes in the movies you see
Just a
the
group
Depot
hug.
Society. You see is he Captain, my captain?
Yeah.
And then it's an inspirational speech which takes you to a new level of the game, and you go out there and beat them. Have you had one of them? Or is it inspirational?
Yeah, and JL tried his best to do that the other day. And then the boys were just sort of standing there with a blank look on their face going on.
Like,
Why is he standing on a desk?
yeah, genuinely
and
shell-shocked
then
at
the whole
that point,
cannibal
aren't you?
pass got opened and we got...
So he tried to inspire, but
Yeah.
then beat it
Yeah.
into you. And that's good, Sean. That's old school parenting.
that's old school parenting. You needed it. But moving on, because we need
Yes,
to
we're
move
looking
on.
forward.
Yeah,
It's
got
a
it.
big game tomorrow night. It's the Purple Hands Foundation game too, which is important.
Yep. Yeah, no, it is. It's a very special game for the club. We obviously raise quite a lot of money through this game for at-risk children or children who are disadvantaged and going through some tough times. So it's a very special week for the club, but for the community as well. So luckily enough, I get to be a part of that and impact the Intercept program at the club as well.
Yep.
Oh yeah, okay.
So, Jordan, I don't know much about you at all, and I don't know if you've covered this, but do we know? Do you know what he's into? Like, what are you into? Like, what are your likes? Your dislikes?
What was that
What are your
word we were
hobbies?
talking about off air?
No.
Incumbent. What are you into? What's your jam?
He's a PlayStation guy, no?
No,
yeah.
Till it gets wild.
Headset.
No, he's not.
Was.
Nathan, Jordan can't play PlayStation anymore. Why, Jordan?
My girlfriend doesn't let me.
But
fine.
because...
I get too angry.
And how many consoles did you break?
No, not consoles, but I did go through a few remotes during.
Oh, yeah, but you should see the destruction in the game that he calls
when, you
it.
say,
TV.
when you say a few,
Yeah, we're going about 9.
Okay. No, that's all right. You're making football money. That's fine.
And then a TV.
and a TV.
phone as
All
well.
right, so you're not allowed to do that because it gets you angry and you smash stuff. So what else are you into? Like, is there any other likes?
Yeah, I like going to the pub and hanging out with mates.
Yeah,
having
like-
a beer.
yeah, hobby-wise, anything productive?
Hobby-wise, no, I like even play a bit of cricket, golf every now and then. Yeah, no, I'm pretty laid back.
No.
No,
Art classes?
certainly not.
No.
No.
Baking?
Reading books? No. No baking.
No baking.
Clarke, it's going to be a really tough game this weekend, and you see that Collingwood have got a number of players out.
Yes, they're resting, yeah.
This is completely strategic. So Fly McRae would have set this up weeks. He did set it up at the start of this year. This is when it was going to be a break. He's actually set players for these games to be able to come in and perform at their best. So it's going to be really challenging in that realm.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't think them resting 5 players is going to make a huge difference to how they're going to play. I think, on the flip side, those 5 blokes that are going to come in are dog hungry to win a spot and be in a really competitive side. I imagine they'll go pretty deep into the year. So when you're given an opportunity like that, I think they're going to be putting their best foot forward. So, yeah, by any means, it's not going to be easy, that's for sure.
Paddy Dangerfield, I want to just go back to the best game I've seen on the round, which was Collingwood versus Geelong the other day, and the performance of Patrick Dangerfield in the last quarter was
What is he, 45? How old is he now? I mean, he's not. He's 33 or something, isn't he?
Somewhere in his 30s.
35, I think.
He's amazing.
Seeing a human being in any sport or any, I won't say hobby, but in any situation where they just go, I'm doing this no matter what, and no one's going to stop me, was just incredible. What was he like when you were at Geelong? Yeah,
no, he was exactly like that. You put him down at your own risk because Danger's quite a determined man. And he's, you get in his way, he'll just run straight over the top of you. And
if he doesn't get you in the game, will he get you after the game?
Yeah, I was about to say, in any aspect of life, he'll just...
you get run down by him in a car.
Bulldoze you.
He backs himself in, and it's pretty cool to watch someone be able to execute.
I mean, it's LeBron James, essentially, isn't he? Still, well advanced into his career, but still performing at an elite level.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's pretty special to watch. It's probably not so nice to be on the receiving end of if you're on the other team.
But he's not taller than you, right?
He'd be a little bit taller than me.
Would he?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. 185, so...
What's that in inches?
6'1"?
Yeah, whatever. It's a midget out on the AFL field.
No, but you're fast. You make up for it by being fast.
The only time I've ever felt short was around Greg Hyer's house when he was having a bit of a party and all the Wildcats were there, and I was like, and it's so strange for me to feel that as an adult because I've always been towering over everyone. Yeah, so how about you, Shaun? Were you tall on your team or not?
I don't... Well, certainly wasn't tall.
You had Spider.
Yeah, I certainly wasn't tall. No, everyone's tall. But
you're on the shorter side of the...
Yeah, but I think you don't feel that when... So when I was thinking about this before because of what your mentality is, when you go out and stand on the field, I didn't matter who I was standing next to, and particularly the big guys, I was like, oh, you're gone. You're the first person taken out.
Yeah.
But for some reason, then you look in the mirror and go, oh... Look
at this little
bloody hell. But yeah, looking forward to a really big game tomorrow night. It's going to be a ripper.
Yeah,
this is the comeback, Jordan.
It is.
You guys have got a redemption arc.
This is where you step into your power, they said.
Yeah. Try and play like Dangerfield, except I'm just not as big. And
I know. It would be great for you to get rid of the nerves and everything to play like PlayStation or something, but apparently you can't.
You can't.
You know what I mean?
I probably wouldn't have a TV if I was 10 remotes down as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks for coming in, George.
And get behind Purple Hands Game too, everybody. There's lots of ways you can donate.
Yeah, so there's a QR code.
Yep.
Clarke, you're aware of this?
I believe so. There's either a QR code going up online with the West today or it's in the paper.
Yep, there is one in the paper. Yep.
Yeah, and they're trying to break last year's record because obviously all funds go to disadvantaged youth or at-risk youth to help them overcome their barriers through the power of sport. So it's pretty special.
Good on you, Clarke.
Good work. Good luck tomorrow night, okay?
Thank you.
And now we'll stop him from beating you up in the hallway.
No.
Shaun, you're going to be nice?
I love him, mate. I love him.
We're teammates. You are on the same team, apparently.
Shaun Sport in podcast form.
Caitlin is in the house, but Natalie was at the game last week and you were commentating Seabass.
I was, yes. I was on the mic, which is so much fun. And it was such a tight game. But
wasn't it great?
I don't know what it's like when you're calling. You're in the moment. Sometimes you don't realise. And so every quarter it was like, and it's nothing splitting these two teams. It's a draw. And then the next quarter it was the same thing. And then it just kept getting closer towards the end of the game. And we knew someone was going to have to break.
Hey, I want to know, when you're commentating, and I don't know, I haven't watched netball commentating, so I don't know how fast-paced it is, but you know when the commentators are like leading into a story and then they go, oh, yeah, it reminds me when I was playing, blah, 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 and then they have to keep following the game. And then
There's not much time for that, is
there?
there?
No time for that?
No.
Is it just like, oh my gosh, you got the ball? It's like that?
Pretty much. So there's two of us. Sue Gordian's the head caller, so she
does a great
calls
job.
play-by-play.
Yes.
So, you know, so-and-so passing to blah, blah, and yada, yada.
Even that, think about that. That's intense.
Yeah. And then so I will pop in and say, oh, you know, that setup was what created that, or how good was that play? But you sometimes do start going off on a little tangent, and then someone takes the intercept, and you're like, oh my God.
So everything has to be really short sentences?
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, what was I talking about before?
Can't remember.
It doesn't matter because they've moved on. And that's why, as a player, when things happen to you on court, in the moment you have to talk about it.
Yes.
Because 10 more plays will happen by the time you get to half time or quarter time or a break, and you go, hey, that ball that you threw to me wasn't really on. They go, which one?
Which one?
And you go, yeah, true. So
when you're playing, you do it as you're playing.
as you're playing. So as the ball, say ball got thrown away, as literally the ball is in transition, I might yell at my player as I run past her, like, put more height on it, or like, next time.
That's how you train a dog too, because they don't remember.
It only has to be a short.
I know, but
word,
you know what?
I know what Seabass is talking about.
Yeah, but you're got to be like, we're doing this for a reason because you get feelings.
From an audience point of view, sometimes it looks like you're being snappy, but it's really just that you've got to get it out really quickly.
You have to, and that's why you build relationships and connections as a team, so you can have those short, sharp words on court and not take it personally. And then when you get off, you go, hey. You might say, I'm sorry I snapped at you, or that.
Yes.
When you go back and look at some video vision, you can say, oh, hey, let's talk about this a little bit more fuller.
Well, this is what I was talking about.
Get so close to another player that you could communicate without even using words. You could look at them and they knew exactly what you meant.
Natalie Bedhurst, and we now commentate together. So it's funny. I posted a photo after the game, and it's me and her while we're talking about something during play, and I'm looking at her, and I know what she's thinking because I knew if Nat was looking at me, she wanted to give me the ball. And sometimes I just go like this, 100%.
So you've had a whole conversation with just...
Yes, and sometimes I just look, or I knew if I didn't want the ball, I would not make eye contact with her.
Just looking at the
she
ring.
would yell at me, give me your eyes. And I would say, no.
My eyes have been made to do something.
Seabass, with the commentating and doing all the stuff that you've done, do you find yourself using a word sometimes to fill the hole?
Do you do this, Shaun, when you're commentating?
I do. For me, I say absolutely a lot.
Oh, yeah. So, have that crutch that you lean on.
You don't realise until, I think definitely is a word that I will use as well. So someone will say, oh, Caitlin, what did you think of that play? How good was that? And I'll say definitely as my first word.
Yeah.
It is. It is. It's crazy. Every time we have an interview.
Absolutely, definitely. Yeah, they're filler words, aren't they? Because it gives you that split second to think about what you actually do want to talk about.
Yes, for your brain to catch up.
Yeah. So, no, I'll keep an eye on that one. But generally it is definitely.
Well, let's talk about the Western Force because they're in action this week. They're up against the Capital, Canberra Brumbies, who are an unbelievable team. Big game, this one. But you've been working there for a couple of weeks. We're checking in on how it's going.
Is this your new gig?
This is my very first game day. I'm very excited. It was sad because I was supposed to be covering the netball, so I was rostered on to do Fever Mavericks, but I had to say no because I'm going to be there for the boys. And it's quite weird because in this role, player development, I've never played rugby before, so I'm coming at it from I don't even know half of the positions at the moment.
That's where the gold is, isn't it? For getting someone that's great from another sport going, wait, there's something that we do can fit there or something.
And you're not coaching them on how to play rugby. You're coaching them on how to be people, basically, right?
How they can help develop themselves off the pitch.
Yes.
So, no, it's really good, and I'm really excited because it is a big milestone game for the club. It's their 20-year anniversary, so they're having heaps of past players come back.
Yeah, great.
Family and friends are coming down, so it's a great opportunity for me to meet the partners because obviously they play a key role in what happens off the field and supporting their players. So lots of them have family, which is really exciting too. But these first 2 weeks has been a great learning experience. The first week, my team was actually in New Zealand, so the boys were over in New Zealand playing there, and I just had the injured rehabbers who had stayed back here. So I got to know them and meet a few people. And then on Monday, the whole squad came back and we had this big team breakfast and it was overwhelming. There were so many players, there were so many gigantic men eating copious amounts of food in front of me. It was a little bit overwhelming, but
can you tell us through the food situation?
So much.
And what are we talking about on a plate?
So, obviously they're big boys, and if you're a certain position, you need to have that, that weight, that bulk about you. And so they do, such big blocks of training as well. They have to stop and feed and refuel during. So they get lunch on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So yesterday I walked in and they were prepping for the catering to come in, and there was mountains of lasagna, the best garlic bread I'd ever seen in the world. Like these loaves which are like cut. Oh, I did get to try some. It was delicious. I'll find out.
Is that in contrast to the netballers? I just imagine you've got girl dinners,
Salad.
like some snacks and some cheese and.
Yeah, and I was laughing because the boys cooked the barbecue breakfast for each other, and so like it was the boys on the grill and stuff like that. And I said we could never do this netball because the girls would be like, I want my egg white. I don't want that, or like just let me cook it myself. Because everyone's very pretentious about what food they put in their body.
There was, you told us the story about how, when you were playing originally and you would go on away games and there wasn't enough money for you to have a full meal after your matches.
Yes.
Because you had to stay an extra night because you're from Perth, and so you were only allowed to have soup. Can you imagine those boys being told, you've played, that's all good, you got food before the game, now here's your bowl of soup.
Drink your cup of dinner.
I know, it's quite funny. I had to organise lunch for them because we had a little player development session, and I said, what's the budget? They told me how much money I had. I was like, I'll go to Zambrera's and get burritos. Fantastic. And the dietitian told me, she's like, well, the boys are going to want 2 burritos each because one's not enough. And I said, I don't have enough budget for 2 burritos. They can have 1 burrito. And she's like, well, you need to message them and tell them to bring extra snacks. And I could not believe that, but it's true.
Yeah.
So,
big humans.
In your role, what's one of the things that you do to get them ready for life? Is that life outside? So what's one of the things?
I guess building relationships is my first point of call, and getting to know each player. And a couple of players have already been like, well, I'm doing uni, I'm sorted. And I'm like, it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
It's helping you, what are your interests away from sport?
Yep.
What are some ways that
What's
you
life
can,
after?
like, hey, are you doing too much? Do you need to look at
Creating
some
the
downtime?
balance,
How are things going with your family? Do we want to get your family over to visit? Like, is your partner got a job? Like, all of these things are extra stresses in a player's life. And so understanding that when you've got that stuff sorted, you can then go and perform and field.
It's like you're just smoothing the edges.
But some of the thing is that a lot of people never think it's going to end, and I'm sure it was the same with me. When you start playing, you're too young. You don't see the end, so you're just like,
I'm guessing it'd be something that you would mourn. I mean, like, you've been a professional for most of your life, and as a kid, you're working towards that as a
especially
professional
if it ends
athlete. And then suddenly that finishes, and then you're like, wait, there. Oh my God, what is this life?
Yes, and that's why I'm excited to have so many of the former players back this week to kind of share some of those experiences of, like, yes, I didn't end when I wanted to, or I thought I was really well set up, but then these are the challenges that I've faced since then. And I'm not rushing anyone out of the sport, and I'm not saying that by sitting down and working out a development plan for you that you're not going to be successful.
But you don't want to be
I'm just saying, that if something does happen, because it happened to me,
net, isn't it?
When my career ended, I lost 2 sponsors the very next day, and it was like, now I have to get a job, and it was it was life. So it's great being in a new environment and helping out some guys that I've never met before, and being surrounded by food, most importantly.
New challenge.
Yeah,
I love that.
You can see that you're loving it.
awesome.
And height-wise, where are we?
Gigantic, like
So you're like a tiny little woman compared to all of them?
I feel
Fantastic.
tiny. Yes.
Fantastic.
Even when it comes to the clothes, they're like, here's clothes that you can, and everything's XXL. I love it.
I'd imagine.
I'm at home.
Who's getting around in a medium at the Western Falls?
No one.
Good on you, Seabass. Thanks for coming in.
Mate.
Shaun Sport is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.